All right, well, welcome everyone to our second episode of Auto-Motif here. I'm your host, Mike, and we got our co-host, Sean, on the line here.
That's right.
If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. That helps us. If you like the video, hit the like button. And anytime we ask you a question or you think you could chime in, make sure you leave a comment below, guys. It really does help. And feedback from you is really appreciated. So we're going to jump in. We do hope that you enjoyed last episode. We've got a few good topics that we're going to chat about today, and we're going to jump in. So our first car is what we're going to talk about, and do we still have it? What was your first car? Do you still have it? Let us know in the comments below. So Sean, I'm going to let you take this away because you got a pretty cool first car. Let's hear about it, and let's hear some stories.
Well, my first car, I remember the day that I saw this car and I was like, I need to have this car. It's just nobody else in high school is going to have one of these. And I don't care how poorly it runs or how poorly I'm going to be able to maintain it as a first car. I saw this blue 1986 Pontiac Fiero, 4-cylinder, the 2M4, and 5-speed manual. And I bought it, $300.
That's a pretty awesome first car. I mean, no one's first car is a C63 AMG Benz unless you're like straight balling. But like for our times, I mean, you're a little older than me, but like that's a cool car for you to have in high school, right? I mean, I would even own a Fiero today, but it would have to have a swap in it. I don't think I could stick with.
Well, funny enough, that car actually did eventually get a swap after I owned it. It got a quad 4 swap, so gained some power, got rid of the really heavy iron Duke, and yeah, it was a fun car. It burned oil like crazy. It was like burned and leaked. I mean, it almost lived up to that Fiero reputation of catching on fire every time you start it up. I probably replaced the starter, I don't know, at least 2 times on it, just because oil would drip on it all the time. And whatever, it's a first car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I ended up owning 3 Fieros, so I evidently liked them. And each Fiero that I got subsequently was a more prestigious trim level. So I got the SE, which came with the V6, and then I got the GT, which was a fastback. And they're a lot of fun. I always say though that my best Fiero that I've ever owned is my Toyota MR2. So, but we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Very comparable car, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's a pretty cool first car. I mean, are you going to ever get another one?
I don't know. And it's one of the things where I think, when you're young, you don't care so much about build quality and, the creaks and the rattles and all that stuff. You're more or less, you're into the car because, hey, it's, your first car. It's something unique. It's something cool, and you're willing to live affordable. You're going to live with the day-to-day sacrifices, and it is what it is. And like the cars are so plasticky and they don't handle that well, contrary to what a mid-engine car should be. Yeah. We're talking like a Chevette front suspension and a Citation rear suspension. Like that, they didn't fix the suspension until 1988 in those cars. And I'd probably, unless it was swapped. If it was swapped, if I had an LS swap done to it, I almost bought a 4th Fiero that had a North Star V8 swap done to it.
Nice.
Which it was done nicely, but North Star V8s come with their own issues at the same time, and that would have been a lot of fun. But that never panned out, unfortunately. But now, in this day and age, if I were to go with a 4-cylinder mid-engine sports car, I would love another MR2. or I'd love to get a Lotus Elise. Like an Elise S1 would be amazing. That
Oh,
would
you
be.
don't want the V8, eh?
Oh well, if we're talking about the Esprit,
Oh, sorry, Elise. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
my
yeah,
apologies. My apologies.
yeah. Well, I mean, an
Got them
Esprit
mixed
is
up.
on that top 10 like collectible car list. Like, sorry, Adam, but yeah, I want an Esprit as well. And yeah, I have an Esprit V8. But we're talking about the Elise or the Exige,
Yes, the
an
smaller.
Elise S1. That's what I'd like. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, what about you? What was your first car?
Well, my very first car was a 1986 325i. And okay, so obviously it's a 5-speed manual, 2.5 liter, inline six, drift missile. Not very fast car, but that thing went around corners sideways all the time. Dump the clutch. Love that car. You know, a little backstory on this is I actually got this car for 500 bucks.
Oh, really? Wow.
500 bucks. So I was doing co-op at Thorold Import while in high school. So they were mainly an Audi, Volkswagen, BMW, German car shop, specialist shop. And they, you know, I didn't get paid because it was co-op. And so they're like, you know, you've been here for like 6 months. We don't pay you. You come every day and you're always wanting to drive all our E30s. So we have this one. We picked this one out for you, and we're gonna give it to you for 500 bucks. So I immediately went home. I'm like, okay, got to pull some money out of the bank, right? I didn't have crazy amount of money. I'm not working. I'm doing co-op, and so I mean, it wasn't the cleanest. Like, let's be real. Like, it was not the cleanest. And we're talking about like 2009. This is when it was, right? So a clean one was probably going for what, 8 grand back then, something
Right.
like that. So they gave a good discount, but you know, it had some rust on the rear quarters. But fixed that up, put an exhaust system on it, and it sounded awesome. I mean, I straight piped it. So I mean, any kid with their very first car straight pipe thinks it's the coolest sounding thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had the aftermarket exhaust. And I truly loved it. I put a sound system in it. I rattled of all that plastic that was sun cracked and the cloth seats. Like it was the best. And I love it. And I would buy another one 100%. But it wasn't perfect and I had to put some love into it. But that's what you get when you get a first car for 500 bucks. I truly regret selling this car. I really would go back and not sell it, and I would have done everything to bring it really back to its glory because I see like Chloe E30. She's got a bagged E30, and that thing is just that's crazy. Like I really wish I kept it so I could have done something really nice with it. Unfortunately, I did trade it for something nice. Well, not I wouldn't say nice. I would say fast and fun. I bought a second gen Eagle Talent and had
There
some
you go.
modifications done to it. But to be honest, at the time I was just like, oh, more power, more fun. Let's do something. You know, you don't think of it at the time, and like you look at the prices now of them. Eagle Talons are, you know, they're slowly creeping up, but an E30 right now is like a diamond, is a diamond. You're not getting those for cheap, and you're not finding them very easily, right? So that's my first car. The whole stories just make me sad, and I wish I could have another one. But you know, situations right now, I'm not going to be buying one, and if I do, I will definitely be reviewing it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good first car, like in terms of the simplicity of it too. It's one of the things that with you know, I guess the parallels between your E30 and the Fiero, they're kind of in that similar generation, not similar in terms of design or anything like that, but that it's still that analog, relatively easy to work on, something that is a good car, a good first car to learn how to do some form of maintenance by yourself,
Yep.
which I think is very important. I know that you know, with my son, whenever we decide to go look for a car for him, whenever that is, you know, I want to be able to get something that he's going to be able to wrench on himself and learn the tricks of the the shade tree trade. So
Yeah, I wonder which one's more aerodynamic, an E30 or a Fiero. I almost think a Fiero would definitely be more aerodynamic.
it depends on the trim level.
True, but okay, so like just base, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, an E30 or 325i is not much different than an E25 ES or 325 ES.
Yeah.
But the M3 obviously is, the cream of the crop on that. But like a Fiero actually has some like cuts and edges that might be able to push some wind. Where
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be the E30. 100%.
you think E30 is more aerodynamic?
Absolutely, because I remember driving my Fiero. Like I said, the Fiero 2M4. It's your base model. It has like the wedge nose. There's no body kit around it, and at around 75 kilometers an hour, which it was amazing that I would actually get up there with that oily Iron Duke that was about to catch on fire on me. But at around 75 kilometers an hour, the nose would start to get really light, and you basically start floating on the road, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just be all over the place. And if you went any faster than that, then the headlights would actually pop up, but like just on their own. So
it's a safety feature, maybe you were just out having fun at night and you forgot to turn your lights on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll chalk
safety
it up
feature.
To that. We'll chalk it up to that. But the SC that I had, which had the 85 GT body kit, and then the 86 GT was a little more streamlined and felt a little more stable, but also had wider tires. Just ultimately it was the sport package that had better shocks and a little more power. 2.8 liter V6. Actually, my SE had a 3.1 liter V6, but it was tired. So somebody did the swap, and they just found some 3.1 out of a Cavalier, and they dropped it in, and
kumbaya.
Yeah, exactly. So
wild.
But, I would have to say the E30 for sure.
All right, guys. Well, that's our first cars that we've owned. We both don't own them. Okay, so if you own it, let us know. What was your first car? Let us know. Our next segment is going to be actually our favorite car that we've owned, and this is kind of a cool topic, and I know everyone that's watching this video definitely has had a favorite car that they've owned. So make sure you guys let us know in the comment below, and maybe next episode we're going to choose a car out of the comments that you guys put below, and we'll talk about it and our thoughts on what your favorite car is. So I'll jump in here on my favorite car that I've owned. I traded my Jetta. I had a 1.8T Wolfsburg Edition Jetta for a 1989 5-liter LX Mustang. Okay, that was awesome. And I mean, that trade was just no brainer to me. Like, the guy needed a 4-door car, he was having a family, and it's like, I'll straight up trade you your Jetta for my Fox body. I'm like, so where do you live? Okay. I went there that night, took a look at it. He took a look at my car, obviously, and we hashed out a deal. The reason I actually really like this car is it was tastefully modded. It had some mods done to it. I'm not going to get into it, but it was fun and fast, right? Stay out of trouble, children. I love the rear-wheel drive challenge. So, when you're front-wheel drive, it can get whatever, but like, I love that feeling of it a little out of control, but in control. I don't know if you guys can understand that, but that's something I really enjoy when I drive. Donuts, I really like doing donuts and burnouts. Guys, welcome to the channel. You're going to see a lot of burnouts this summer, especially with my Ranger whenever it gets done. And it's one of my favorite models. Like, to be honest, Fox bodies are probably, if not the best looking and non-aging Mustang. Other than like the new GT500s or the 1969 Mustangs, that's definitely my favorite model. And V8, like, I mean, I've had 4 cylinders. I own a motorcycle, so 2 cylinders. inline sixes, V6s, V8s. I've had it all. I just really like the thumpy of a V8. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And so that's one of the reasons. And I would have to say the last but not least, what really put this car was it was manual, right? So when you hop in it, you're able to go out and bang gears, you're able to have fun, you're able to make it do what you want it to do. And with the power of the V8, it was just my favorite car. And I really regret selling that one as well. But you know, times come and you know, you see opportunities. You want, if you're a car person like me and you don't have garage space or driveway space, you have to let go of a car to get a car you want. So that's my favorite car. Let me know, guys, if you like it. But yeah, unfortunately, it's gone. And I don't know where it is.
I've never owned a V8 car, not yet. I always wanted some form of V8 car. I mean, I'm a Mopar guy, so by default, I don't know. I was like about 12 years old, and there was this 74 Challenger with a 318 slapstick that this guy wanted $750 for. Like, this is way back in when was I 12 years old? 1996. So like,
Wow.
yeah, 74 Challenger, and it needed work, but like, you know, just imagine if I picked up that car way back then and had it till now, how
You
much
would
it would be
have it,
worth.
even though it's worth a lot, you would still have that kind of
Oh, I
car.
totally still
Like,
have it. And like, cool things, you know, obviously the 318 motor was your base V8s
yep.
in those days with as far as Mopar was concerned. But yeah, we when I was a kid, we had a bus. It was an old 1969 Dodge Fargo chassis bus that had a 318 and a 4-speed that was converted into a motorhome. And maybe one podcast episode I'll detail on what, you know, we did with that and all that stuff. But that 318, it was just an absolute workhorse. And you'd think that such a small displacement motor, and you got this like 35-foot bus, you know, with a whole bunch of motorhome stuff in it, that it's, you know, not going to be fast or not going to be very reliable or anything like that. But hey, it got us to where we needed to go and back.
It's true.
Some pretty interesting stories with that. But
No,
yeah,
that's a bigger V8 than what I had. I only had a 302, which actually I don't think a 5-liter or the actual Mustang Fox body 302s aren't actually
4.9 liter.
Yeah, they're 4.9 liter. They're not actually 5 liters. So it's still a 5 liter. I don't care what y'all say. So Sean, let's hear yours, man. I mean, I'm excited to hear this.
So let me start by saying that I own this car, and I didn't own it for very long, and I'm ultimately kicking myself for getting rid of it because it would be worth probably about 3 times more than what I paid for it way back when. And I didn't pay for it. Like I bought it. Well, it's 2021. It would have been 2011 that I bought it. So it's been 10 years. But it's a 93 Toyota MR2 Turbo, 5-speed car in red. I called it my Japanese Ferrari. It was pretty cool. It had T-tops. It's my first really open air car. And it was fantastic. It was,
I love those cars, man.
Yeah.
They're just, you can't diss those cars. You can't. Like, if someone says, I don't even know how you diss it. Like, I don't. Hey guys, if you could diss it, put it in the comments below. But I really think that car is just a staple point of Toyota. Like, just fine engineering at its finest.
Engineering, exactly. And if we want to compare, and I know we're comparing, you know, a 93 MR2 to an 86 Fiero, but like
Fieros, keep coming to this combo.
The jump in engineering quality is just unbelievable compared to, like, between the two cars.
And it's domestic and import, right? So there's totally different, like, overseas in that era was not copying anything that North American is like today. Absolutely. Like, today is very even playing field for like Europe cars versus domestic cars, or Japanese cars and domestic cars within a spectrum. But then it was like they're in their own world and we're in our own world, right? Like, Pontiac was a performance division of GM, like, and Toyota had its, especially 93. Like, guys, that that generation of 93.
Golden
I actually
age.
think
Golden age of
93
Toyota.
of imports, the 90s of imports. You've got your RX-7s, you got your MR2s, you got your Toyota Supras, you got your GTRs, you got what else? You know, you got your Sylvias, right? Like you in the 90s, I think the best cars ever made in the 90s was Japanese, right? And even so, I want you to get to your runner up. Go to your runner up because it kind of ties in to how like Japanese division and development actually came to Canada or North America and changed the world. It brought a platform to North America where people with V8s were thinking they were hot crap, like they were the best, untouchable. And this car came out and was stomping Fox bodies, was stomping Camaros, was stomping every single V8 that came out of production. This little domestic, take it away. This car is a great car, and
Yeah.
it really put a staple point on that.
DSM, Diamond
That's
Star
right.
Motors.
That's right.
I had a 97 Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive before the MR2. I had sold it so that I could recoup some money so I could move across the country. But I probably would have kept that car, and I should have kept that car. Again, there's another car that maybe not as valuable as the MR2 in terms of you know, gaining value, but it would have I would have had more equity in that car based on, you know, what they're going for now versus what I paid for it. And yeah, 97 Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive. There really is nothing like it in terms of your driving experience. Like you can chuck that thing into a corner and you just plant your foot and it sticks. It sticks. You can't get the tires to spin. You know, you know that if you're going to look into that corner and you want to go that way, well, it's going to go that way. That's where you want it to go. And
on stock levels, right? Like, I mean, you put, you know, 6-7 horsepower, 600 horsepower, that thing, but that car, well, it backdated to 93. The 93 Talon TSIs were destroying people at the drag track. Like, like you're taking turboed 4-cylinder electronic fuel injection, all that fun stuff, and it's being boosted. And these big V8 guys are like, you know, I'm big V8, right?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That thing would pull in the 60 foot, and they just would never catch them.
Like
right?
Even it just like in factory form, when the Talon launched in '89, you know, the TSI all-wheel drive went 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. You know, it was doing the quarter mile in you know, high 14s, and that was just factory.
No, I think they're lower. Like
stock.
Lushen rode his, got his.
Oh well, no, they're capable of it. I'm just talking magazine times.
Oh, okay, so, magazine times, but they're like low 14-second.
Absolutely.
Cars,
so
right?
like if you get into, you know, your comparatives in terms of performance in those days. So in 1989, you had the 3rd gen F body. You know, that was still like maybe, I don't know, 6.5, 7-second car, 0 to 60. The Mustang, exactly the same thing. And these were heavier cars. They didn't have all-wheel drive, any of this stuff. So like the technology that was coming over from Japan during that time, and DSM, actually they were built in North America, but yeah, definitely revolutionary for the time, for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, if that would be my runner-up for those two cars, my two favorite cars that I've ever owned.
Awesome. Well, guys, you know, like, make sure you let us know what your favorite car you've ever owned was, okay, in the comments below. Our next little segment here, we did touch a little bit on it last episode, but I really feel like a lot of people, there's a really big debate, and it's, you know, will a classic car ever become collectible? I really think that that's something that we got to look at as car enthusiasts, maybe if we're investors, and what actually becomes a collectible. So Sean, like, to you, what do you think? Do you think they're actually going to become collectible? Do you think they're not going to become? Are you not decided? Like, what is, take it away.
I think what it really depends on, Mike, is how people are going to be able to um, keep these things on the road after their end of life.
Right.
That's really what, like, if we're
Now,
talking
have we
about,
had to dispose of any yet?
well, as we touched in the last episode, with basically Elon shutting off, supercharging capabilities based on, one car being rebuilt and that sort of thing. And the excuses, well, it could affect our supercharging grid, which almost renders the car useless. There's no other way to charge those cars fast. And
Right.
the fact that batteries cost so much to replace in those vehicles.
I did see that.
I just don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening until we actually have some form of aftermarket support and repair.
I think Sony actually just put in billions of dollars into R&D with electric car vehicles, like their batteries.
Well,
So I think other
it's going to open up, like
yeah,
and
it's
what
early,
I mean,
right?
like we're harping on Tesla because Tesla's top dog, but
Yeah.
it's going to open up, and it is opening up before our eyes. The Porsche Taycan, you have the Audi e-tron,
Yep.
Porsche, sorry, instead of Porsche.
Oh, you'll get roasted, man.
Yeah, I know.
I
So
did that on the
it just kind
996.
of it blurts out sometimes. But yeah, like, so you're seeing those cars come out, and the more cars, Volvo's going to go EV by, I think it's 2030, fully EV completely.
Really?
Yeah. They will not. And I think Jaguar's planning for the same thing around 2030 or 2035 or something like that. So it'll open up. But we're still limited by obviously range, the battery technology, and how adaptable that battery technology is going to be compared to what's going to be out 30 years from now. So, like, you can, let's go back to the 318. I can go into, AutoZone in the US, or I can go into Part Source here in Canada, and I can order every gasket, everything for a 318 if I want to rebuild it. I can order pistons, I can order rods. I can get all that stuff over the counter, or I can get it in a matter of days.
Yeah.
And that motor has been produced in over 20 years. And it was produced for 30, 35 years. But that's the thing. So is that type of availability in parts going to be around? Or are we just going to throw these cars?
Right?
Who knows? Maybe not. How does the industry evolve? And are we looking at basically the beginning of the end? Kind of to segue into something else here, and we'll circle back to our original topic. But when gaming computers first started to really hit market, people would be doing PC builds. I thought, geez, you know what we're looking at? We're looking at people that 10 years ago or 15 years ago, they wouldn't be building computers, they would be building cars. That's what they would be doing.
Right.
And now they're building computers, like these geeks. That's what they're doing. They've gravitated towards this. So what are we looking at now? What is going to be the natural transition? Are these kids going to be into modifying EVs? Are they going to be collecting EVs? Are they going to be restoring them? Are we going to see that? Or are we going to see?
It's hard to see, but we're also from a generation where we didn't know about that until, right? Which is weird.
But are we going to see the opposite, where you have these phones that are completely disposable? You can't do anything with them after they're if something breaks on this phone, I could take it back to the place I bought it, and they're going to give me a new one. Yes. I can't repair it. I can't modify it. There's nothing I can do with this.
Tesla's not taking your cars.
Exactly. So, where are we going to be with that? And it's interesting. There's a cultural shift happening in the industry.
Right.
Are they going to become collectible? I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see computers being collectible,
Yeah.
except for, your certain, Mac. You have guys that collect Mac, or they collect old 386s and 486s to play retro games. But
Yeah.
all that stuff can be done through emulation now, anyways.
And
It's interesting to see the
it's only
parallels. So.
collectible on an individual basis. It's not like a widespread, like, a 1969 Eleanor Shelby, like everyone knows, like
Yeah.
that car
Yeah,
is
exactly.
something
Like,
you want, right?
I have an HP
So
Z820, and nobody is looking to collect that thing. So that's just what it is. What it is. So
that's true.
yeah,
Well, I think rare on occasion, they could be a collectible, but this, it gets touchy is with whether a collectible or not, right? Because I have those four kind of definitions of what makes a collectible, the limited production, the it's desirable, it's historically significant, and it's maintaining value. So like I know some collectors, and they actually have some of very early electric cars, which I don't think many people know, like a Charlie. That car is, very weird looking, and obviously I understand why it did take off, but it's not, but someone collects it. So to be able to say, is it a collectible, is it not a collectible, like it really becomes down to a personal preference at that. General scale, I don't think so. I think your Tesla Roadster, which is a $250,000 electric car that really hasn't even became production, right? It's been a prototype, and they've taken orders, but they have not delivered any. So to even say that that's collectible, it's the concept car would be collectible, right?
Yeah.
Totally, because it was like the start of the era, but that one, they haven't produced any. So yes, it's ultra rare, but it's probably the only one I can think of that's an all electric collectible vehicle. And I think Elon sent it outer space. I don't know if there's any more that he
Yeah,
has laying
he sent an
around,
old one
but
out. He sent the old one out there, but
oh, so there's still
yeah,
one more,
yeah, he
whatever
sent the old one out
prototype.
there while he debuted the new one. But yeah,
Okay.
like I can tell you one collectible EV that everybody would love to get their hands on, but they can't, is the GM or the Saturn EV1, which GM actually leased all of those out, and then I don't know, through if you've ever seen Who Killed the Electric Car, it's a great documentary. But basically through lobbyists and oil ties, GM basically took all these leases back after they were done, and they
Sounds like
crushed
the
all the
weed
cars.
industry of the 30s.
Yeah, they crushed them all, so they're
Yeah.
all gone. And
Yeah.
they might have one, I think, in the GM museum or something like that, but they crushed them all. So yeah, they're not
But
around anymore.
the performance is blistering. Like we got to remember, like these are like instant full torque, full horsepower, and that's why like Tesla's leading the sector. In my opinion, there's just something missing when it comes to driving an electric vehicle and the collectability of it and just everything around it. I mean, guys, as you're watching this, make sure you let us know in the comments below what you actually think is your opinion. And we're so open to it because this topic right here is going to be going on for a while. Because as these, think of, guys, the Volt, Chevy Volt. Tell me one of you that say that's a collectible car, that you want that car. There's no one. I don't know one person that would say that. And that's been around for how long? 10 years, right? And that's been an electric vehicle,
absolutely,
right?
well,
and no one wants it.
And the Volt looks way better than the Prius. And like, come on, let's be honest here. But yeah, exactly. Like the Volts, they are cool cars in their own way, shape, or form. And
Sure,
I
yeah.
guess to expand on what you were saying there about, this is going to be sticking around for a while. As a person that has driven both the Model S and the Model X, I am an advocate for electric cars coming. I don't have any problems with it.
Yep.
I mean, like we're just looking at a new age, and it's not like I want to see the death of the internal combustion engine.
I don't think it ever will.
And no, exactly. I mean, maybe new cars, but we'll always have something out there, and it'll be some sort of niche or some sort of enthusiast staple for probably another millennia here.
Well,
So,
remember the oil industry
um,
is so massive, right? Like it controls the world almost in my eyes. So to be able to say you don't need oil changes anymore and you don't need gas to refine oil to be able to make gas, good luck. Like you're messing
yeah,
with the big boys. And I mean, I think we're way further than what people are projecting, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I
yeah.
think
I
we're
mean,
too far, like 50 years
ultimately,
maybe.
like we might not be putting gas in our cars, but look at all the plastic on Teslas. That's still oil-based technology. The plastic
Yeah.
in your headphones, plastic in my headphones, the microphones made of plastic. Everything like our cameras that we're using, they're still like a carbon plastic composite. Like it's everything needs oil. We're not going to
Yeah.
be rid of oil completely.
But a
It's just,
huge
are we going to burn
portion.
it? Yeah. Are
Yeah.
we going to burn it to travel? Is
I
that going to
wonder
be the thing?
what the percentage of an oil consumption of like each sector, like what is the automobile percentage of oil usage?
Well,
You know what I mean?
comparatively,
Of sold.
yeah, comparatively to the airline industry, or comparatively to
Well, what are they
a
gonna do? Are
diesel
they gonna make
tanker.
electric planes next? Like that's cool. I
There
mean,
are, yeah, there are a few studies going on right now. I think there's a few prototypes out there of electric planes. Again, it's range and lift to keep a um, uh, keep a vehicle in the air. It takes a
yeah,
lot more.
thrust and
Yeah,
power. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It takes a lot more power to be able to maintain that. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
That's our
But
opinion, guys.
yeah,
And I mean, if you have a different opinion, you agree with us, let us know. Put it in the comments below, guys.
yeah,
If you're liking what you're seeing right now, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you want to support the channel, you can hit our Patreon. It will be in our description below. Okay, guys, every dollar, everything helps us. So our next thing is industry news. And last episode, we were talking about SRT for us, or I don't even know why I said SRT for us. SRT is the brand after the merger that has with the Stellantis. And I did a little bit of research and they have actually said that they are discontinuing the SRT brand. But they're not saying SRT is gone. The brand is gone, but they're taking the team of the engineers and they're merging them with the Stellantis team. So, I mean, that's a really good news considering I really like the SRT brand. I think that's the only thing good about Dodge, in my opinion. We did get our news from motor1.com. We'll put that in the description below. So if you want to check it out, that is our source that we got it from. And I mean, I would like to see it, but I just don't see it happening if that's what they said, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of SRT, like it's been around long enough. Basically, almost 20 years now. And like anybody who has grown up in the last 20 years in terms of being an automotive enthusiast, they become the domestic staple of power, the tower of power. And, everybody's tried to wrestle that tower of power from Mopar in that regard. I remember before SRT, so it's still with that lens, it's still kind of a new thing, and to see it die, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I've never liked the name SRT. It was like, well, street and racing technology, woo, okay, whatever. But like,
cancel it. It condones street racing. Cancel it. Cancel culture.
yeah, just like, I mean, yeah, what was wrong with Mopar? Mopar was great, like the Mopar,
I agree.
Yeah.
But I understand, like they had the RT was their golden bread, right? And then they brought the SRT in, right? But I mean,
well, but they mean two
we'll do a
different things.
tribute to them for sure whenever the team actually does get abandoned. I hope maybe they change their mind and maybe they do some studies and realize that this is going to be extremely detrimental to their business. Maybe it's not, but
Well,
maybe that happens, right?
we're going to light a candle for each of these Chrysler brands that are going to die here in the next 10 years anyways. So it's going to happen. It's inevitable. SRT, there's your first one. There you go.
Yeah.
It's gone. But hey, RT stands for road and track.
Yeah.
SRT stands for Street and Racing Technology. So they were two completely different things. That's why I didn't like it. I was just like,
Doesn't make sense.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah,
Oh
buy it,
man.
buy SRT, buy.
Yeah.
We'll miss you.
Well, that's some that is some industry news for you guys. If you want us to talk about anything on industry news, make sure you let us know in the comments below. Today, we're adding something to our podcast, and it's going to be our supporting local. So today's episode, our support local business is Davies Auto. Now, they are a sponsor of My Ranger and of Drive for Cancer, the nonprofit organization. What they are is they're an automotive shop in the 427 and Dundas area, so Mississauga. They handle a very wide range of all types of mechanic work. If you're in that area and you're looking for a reputable shop, make sure you contact them. I'm going to put their contact information below. Now, if you would like to support the channel and have your company on our channel and us to support you and put your name out there, please let us know at automotifmedia@gmail.com. Any final words, Sean?
I just want to say that if you live in downtown Toronto and you're not allowed a lift in your building, it's probably a good idea to check one of these guys out. Mike has kind of the his ear to the ground in terms of the good shops, and there are some good shops also outside of the GTA in the Southern Ontario area too. So we're touching on a few of those, and we just can't wait for the next episode. We're gonna have some fun.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So Mike, you can find me at The Insurance Dude on Instagram. You can find Sean at the Leafy Photography. He also runs Northern Driver, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out our supported nonprofit organization, Drive for Cancer, on Instagram, Facebook, or the website. And till next time, guys, drive safe and have a great day.
Go Leafs, go.